So my STEEZ going on. Yes, Lord, bringing you round review. Super Saturday. Got a handful of games. Had 4 games going on today. So let's just get into it, man. So first game we had was the Hawthorne Hawks versus Melbourne Demons. And coming into this game, both teams on a little win streak, man. I want to say Hawks were on a 2-game win streak. Melbourne was on a 3. And yeah, man, at the end of the day, somebody had to lose this game, man. So getting into the game, we had a pair of big man goals. We had Lloyd Meek score 1 for the Hawks, and we had Max Gawn score 1. Not Max Gawn, but Harvey Langford score 1 for Melbourne. And I think this game was just, Melbourne missed some opportunities as far as scoring goals. To me, they've had a bad habit of doing that, not taking opportunities and missing set shots and missing goals in general, man. Like just leaving way too many points on the board. I think it wasn't just Melbourne though. I think this game as a whole was just, it was a bad game, I'll say, bro. There was a lot of opportunities missed. And I would say the Hawks probably played underwhelming for like the first 3 quarters, man. Didn't play good at all. Melbourne definitely could have played better, man. Melbourne was without Jack Viney this game, which I think is a big deal to the midfield. But the Hawks are without players as well, so I think you've seen that both teams were without a handful of players, just considering the quality of the game. It was just very frustrating to watch, I would say, as a neutral fan. So I can't imagine being a supporter of either team and watching this. I think the second quarter, there was like, the first goal came in like halfway through the second quarter, bro. So it was just mistakes on top of mistakes, and then not being able to capitalize whenever you did get there, bro. And this wasn't a very great game to watch, but really at the end of the day, bro, and even on top of that, like with the skill errors from the players, there was the skill errors from the umpires. Umpires missed a handful of calls too. Like Kazi Pickett clearly got legged, like tripped, if you don't know what the term leg means, by an off chance. Right in front of goal, they didn't call it. So it's like, bro, what's really going on here, bro? Like, I don't really know what theme we're trying to follow with this game, man. But yeah, there were some players that played well. Like, I feel like James Warple was probably best on ground in the first half, stepping up in the midfield when you have a couple players out. And I think that's something that the Hawks need. You've seen at times their attacking style, but you've mostly seen that in the fourth quarter. They went on like a crazy run to really wrestle the game and to win it. I think they scored the 7 of the last 8 goals to win the game, behind Jack Gunston, who had 3 final quarter goals, 3 goals in the last quarter to put the game away after missing some set shots early in the game, but that was true to brand of the game in general. I think CJ followed up his career best game last week with another great game. So it's good to see him. I've been waiting for him to fill out his potential, and he's done that. Harvey Langford, the young bloke for Melbourne, I think he scored 3 goals this game as well. So it's good to see him, being able to put his hand up and step up as a player for Melbourne when they really need it. And it's encouraging to see, because I've been saying it all year, the young blokes from Melbourne have been stepping up and they have been looking impressive. So it's good to see a little bit of consistency as well. Kazi Pickett had a great game. Max Gawn had a monster fourth quarter, but it just seemed like at the end of the game, Hawks were able to just really get around and kind of limit his influence just a bit toward the end of the game, and the floodgates just opened up for the Hawks. They ended up winning the game. And I think Nick Watson played good. He had a heavy influence on the game, had an early smother in the game, and I think he's just a dangerous player. He's putting his foot forward too as a player, a younger player. We all know he had a rough start to his career, missing goals heavily, like missing a bunch of goals in a row before he was able to get his first one. But he influences the game in many ways, bro. So it is good to see that. Chol, I've talked about Chol so many times, and not necessarily a negative light, but not necessarily a positive light either, but he continues to prove to me that he's more skilled and more capable of being a key forward than I thought initially. I always thought he was like a lazy player. He just looks like he's not really doing too much, but he makes his moments, and he takes his moments, and he's able to score, bro, when the team really needs him. So impressed with him still. The theme of this game was really just underperformance for both teams, and the Hawks were able to really just take it to another level in the fourth quarter and really able to win the game. So it was a rough loss for Melbourne. I don't think the score necessarily reflects how bad. I mean, it does, but it was a closer contest than it might have looked. I know Melbourne would probably like to get a lot of those opportunities back, man. Bailey Fritsch missed the gimme. I think it was at the quarter time or the end of halftime, just missed the easy goal right there. And I think he has a habit of doing that as well. But like I said, man, Melbourne just seems to. Melbourne's one of the teams that I look at that is just inconsistent at being accurate in front of goal, alongside Frio as well. So looking for them to clean that up, man. I still think they have some issues to answer up front in the forward half, in the forward position group. Yeah, man, and it's like Hawks didn't play their best game. Like Jai Newcomb is usually one of the best players in the midfield, no matter who's playing, and he didn't have a great game at all. So also that could partially be attributed to Clayton Oliver giving a tag job to him, but maybe you better off just letting Clayton Oliver play his own game rather than have him as a tagger. Good moment it was good for the Hawks to be able to just wrestle the game when it's needed, and that's what mature sides do. You're not always going to play the great game, but they made the best of their opportunities. So that's what I got for them. Next game we had the Sydney Swans versus the Essendon Bombers. And coming into this game, Bombers have won a handful of games, man. And they've been looking all right on the season, but I still think at the end of the day they've been like a middle of the pack team. I think the level of competition that they've been playing against thus far in the season is definitely indicative of what their record is, and as far as wins and losses and how many wins they have. They haven't quite blown teams away like I expect them to, the lower end teams. So I'm still not completely sold on them. City's coming off a decent win against the GWS Giants, so I definitely thought they would be more capable of winning this game, considering I consider GWS a better team than Essendon on the season. In theory, Sydney has been very, very inconsistent, man. Like when Sydney looks bad, they look bad. In this game, they indeed looked bad, man. To start the game, they gave up like 350-meter penalties to give up goals against Essendon. So you're really just laying the table and laying the foundation for Essendon to not really have to do much to win this game, considering that Sydney has forward issues, bro. There's just been so many times where they can't quite get the ball forward and make the most of it, bro. So, I mean, that's pretty much what happened, bro. I think Sydney scoring the whole game has just been an issue, bro. Like, Aaron Francis came in and looked like a hero like a couple weeks ago, and being their best forward option, who is a hand-me-down from Essendon. Like they have Ruckman up there up forward trying to kick goals, and your short Logan McDonald, and the injury list definitely has something to do with how bad City's been playing this season. But I think there's definitely issues deeper than just the forward, but just the injuries. I don't think Golden will just slide inside and all of a sudden just change the whole momentum of the team. I think there's a lot more issues going on there. But yeah, Essendon ended up like kicking their ass, bro. Like especially in the first half. I want to say they scored like 6 of 7 goals early on in the first half, man. And yeah, Sydney just not quite good enough. Zach Merritt been known to have like to be a good accumulator and to be able to have some great possession numbers. And this game he didn't really do that. He had James Jordan on him, but they ended up moving Zach Merritt forward, and that kind of really got that 6 out of 7 goal run started for Essendon. It was a good tactical move to try and break the tag, and although he didn't have the best numbers, I think he still was influential. Nate Caddy was probably the biggest beneficiary in the first half from those 50-meter penalties. And I think Nate Caddy has been somebody that I like for Essendon going forward. As a forward option, Sydney sucks, bro. You just can't say it any more bluntly, bro. They have issues, bro. They were getting their ass beat so bad, and if it wasn't for like a late run where they had a couple goals in 1 minute, and were able to cut the lead down, I think this game would have really definitely been way more out of hand. I think Sydney's worse than people actually say they are. Like, I don't think people are really down on Sydney just because they've been in the grand final the past 2 years. And it's just not the team. It's not the same team at all, bro. Like, injuries as well, but like, Heaney's not having as great a season as he did last year. It's just a collective downfall from, I think, a lot of players. And yeah, there's definitely not enough firepower there offensively to score enough goals. This was a low-scoring game, and I don't think Essendon is, like I said, I think Essendon is a middle-of-the-pack team. Couldn't whoop West Coast ass, couldn't whoop North ass, and you know, you were whooping Sydney ass, but you still ended up looking shaky against them toward the end of the game. So I think this was just like a match of teams that aren't that. Okay, so Essendon probably could make the 8, but I'm predicting them not to make that. But I will say, like, there are some good things from Essendon. Like, I really like Sam Durham. That's a player I like from him. That's a player that I like from them. There was a situation where it was a stoppage where he laid a tackle. The ball kind of popped out. He was able to grab it, run out of the contest, and then slam the ball on the boot and had a crazy goal. So I think that was some individual brilliance there. Yeah, I really like Sam Durham. That's probably like the major player and that I do like from them. And Nick Martin had a monster game, bro. He's like a very good Swiss Army knife that can play multiple roles for them. So there is some versatility there, but I do think as a whole that they're not just one of the top teams. Not top 8, definitely not top 5. And yeah, Sydney's on the downfall. That my boy Duck keep on saying the downfall of Sydney needs to be studied. I do agree. Hate it for Lily, man, but man, Sydney is not good, bro. And I think their season is definitely cooked. I thought it already was cooked, and yeah, I think they got some stuff to figure out, man, before they even want to be competitive again, man. And Chad Warner may have made a mistake signing back to this club, man. So we just keep an eye on the City Swans and see how they are going forward, but I'm not very optimistic about them boys, man. But Essendon gets by on it by a thread again, man. So once Essendon starts going against these tough teams, it'll be interesting to see how they fare, and yeah, see how competitive they really could be against some of the more top teams. So the next game we had the Gold Coast Suns versus the Western Bulldogs, and I think coming into this game, Gold Coast was coming off a disappointing loss in a Q clash against Brisbane, whereas the Dogs have been playing great footy for the last couple of weeks, man. I think they're on a 3-game win streak, and they've just been playing great really in all aspects of the game, if you ask me. This game was a great midfield battle between two talented midfields, and really was just a back and forth affair. Not necessarily 1-for-1, but you know, there'd be a handful of goals from Gold Coast, especially early on, and you know, Western Bulldogs really just able to respond. Runs that the Gold Coast went, the Suns went on. O'Donnell, the backman for the Dogs, he did a very good job to stabilizing the defense. I think whenever Gold Coast did look good and look damaging going forward, I think in the first half in particular. Last weekend, we were pretty disappointed in the performances from the midfield from Gold Coast, but and really, also you can say you were kind of disappointed with Matt Rowell in the first half. But yeah, I think when it came down to it, especially in the third quarter, Matt Rowell went crazy, was damaging. Not only got possessions, but was damaging with it. And yeah, I think Daniel Rioli had a great game up in Darwin. This game was up in Darwin, so it was a home game for Gold Coast, and so he showed out in front of the home crowd. And yeah, it was slippery conditions, but he was able to at moments not even make it look like it was slippery. So the Rioli magic was there for that. But Liberatore and Ed Richards in particular were just going crazy that game, bro. Very impressive for them. So I think they did a good job at trying to mitigate the damage that the midfield from Gold Coast was able to have, and also just to provide damage on their own. I think Gold Coast was really just generating turnovers in the forward half, a la Damien Hardwick. That's what he likes to do. But really, when it came to the stoppage game, I think the Dogs were just a bit better there. And yeah, Gold Coast ended up giving themselves a little comfortable lead, but it was a late run that the Dogs made to try and win the game, but ultimately fell short. And I think Matt Kennedy, I think he had like 3 first half goals. He was very good too. So as a Cardinal man, it does hurt to see that you got rid of a player who's just so impactful in the contest and impactful in the game in general. yeah, he looks good. He's been having a great season, probably a career best season for Matt Kennedy. Yeah, just all around, the Dogs we're still playing a great game. I don't think they'll really hang their heads on this loss here. Gold Coast was able to bounce back from a bad loss, from a disappointing loss against Brisbane, and able to try and get their season back on track with the win here against the Dogs. And as we've seen, it's not easy to get no win against the Dogs the last couple of weeks, man. Ever since Bont came back, and he was straight too. He had a straight game too. Yeah, it's just dangerous, man. The Dogs are just able to move magnets around and move players to different positions to still have their players make an impact on the game. So I do think it was a good game, man. I thought Gold Coast may have been able to run away with it, but the Dogs don't give up. Like I say every week, they give it a crack, and I hope they don't hang their heads on this loss. Next game of the round, we had Port Adelaide versus Adelaide Crows, and this was showdown 57. Coming into this game, both teams were tied up at 28-28 each as far as their wins record versus each other in the showdown. So I know both teams probably came in with a little bit of pride. And it's actually quite interesting, bro. I think this game did not disappoint at the end of the day. I think Port probably won the midfield battle. They were looking pretty good, man. I think Zach Butters and Connor Rosey, when you have both of them, I think they just, they're just better, bro. I think I wouldn't say just necessarily better, but they're just two players that have heavy impact on the game no matter what. But I was also not sure how this game would have went, considering the fact that, Adelaide has, whenever they get going, they have the forward line, a potent forward line, high-power forward line. They can rip defenses to shreds. But also on the other ticket, you have Port Adelaide, who has a couple of key defenders down there that are able to kind of disrupt whatever an aerial attack from a team that's kind of like Adelaide, or anybody who, if you just kind of bomb it inside 50, I think Port Adelaide is well equipped to dispel all that, considering what off the back of Alir and Radical Lear as well. So wasn't quite sure. I tipped Adelaide this game. Adelaide came off a pretty convincing win against Carlton last week, whereas on the opposite end, Port really got smoked last week. But it wasn't at home. Port plays different at home than they do on the road, and it's at the Adelaide Oval with a lot of pride on the line. So I wasn't quite sure who. I know the showdown usually doesn't disappoint, and so I ended up tipping Adelaide anyway. And part of my prediction came true. I think aerially, Riley Thilthorpe was pretty dangerous. I think he had like 10 marks and 5 of them being contested, so he has great hands, and he's one of them boys, man. He's a dangerous forward. That's a dangerous big boy you don't really want to play with. And it wasn't just him though, because Darcy Farker had a couple goals, but there was a handful of Crows in general that had a couple multiple goals. So it was evenly spread, evenly yoked forward attack, or attack in general from Adelaide. I do think at the end of the day though, they did win. They didn't win the midfield battle. Isaac Rankin was kind of modest for the first 3 quarters or so. He had great moments for sure. There was a couple scintillating goals, I think. One from Jason Horn-Francis and one from Isaac Rankin, who soccered his, and Jason Horn-Francis just had his in the contested situation where he was just able to wrestle the ball out and kick a crazy little contested kick, a little snap kick, or whatever you want to call it. But this game definitely had the entertainment value, I'll say that. Connor Rosey had a moment. Next game we had Adelaide Crows versus Port Adelaide Power in showdown 57. Coming into this game, definitely knew that there was pride on the line, man. There was bragging rights at stake. Both teams tied up at 28 wins apiece in the history of the showdown. Adelaide came in probably off high confidence of destroying Carlton and ruining their win streak, looking like they're getting back to their dangerous attacking ways that they've shown that they can be capable of early on in the season, or for the majority of the season. And Port coming off a complete dismantling on the road against the Western Bulldogs. But I didn't expect Port to just roll over, considering that this game is at home. They played great at Adelaide Oval, and they're just a completely different side when it comes to being at home, let alone lined up in front of the Adelaide Crows. So I think this game did live up to the hype. it was a very entertaining game. There was a handful of goals of the year potential. I think Jason Horn-Francis had a great goal. And on the other ticket, you had Isaac Rankin, who had a great goal, soccer another with a gap that didn't seem like it was able to be squeezed through. But yeah, I think the theme of this game was really just the efficiency inside 50 and being able to take the chances whenever you have them. I think Port really was obliterated the Crows as far as stoppage goes and scoring from. But I just think when it came down to it, Adelaide didn't go as many times, but they were able to get more consistency as far as getting goals when they did move forward. And I think Riley Thilthorpe was a big reason for that. He's just a big boy, man. We all know that Port has that dangerous forward line, bro, with Tex Walker and Darcy Fogarty and Riley Thilthorpe. Then you have you have Ben Keys, who has been known to get a crazy goal or being able to score when needed, and Josh Shelley as well. And yeah, but Thilthorpe ended up having like 10 marks and then 5 of them being contested. So he's a big boy, dangerous boy. You don't want to mess with, bro. And yeah, I didn't know how that was gonna go because I do highly tout that forward line, but also the defense, the defensive players that Port has down there in Radicalier and Alier can be known to disrupt it, to make an aerial contest harder than you think it might be, just given the length and the reach that both them boys do have as far as affecting the area marking contest. So actually, it was good to see. Maybe not necessarily good for the Power, but they didn't quite live up to being able to be disruptive enough for the Crows. Like they made the most of the chances, I think, and I do think that they lost the midfield though. Jordan Dawson didn't have the greatest game. Like he completely carved up Carlton last game in the middle, and when he rolled up forward, it was just too much. And Miles Bergman, I would like to give him a lot of credit for doing that tag job on him and disrupting his influence on the game, because we know how dangerous Jordan Dawson could be. But when it comes down to influence on the game, Zach Butters had it, Connor Rosie had it, and yeah, it was both of them played great games as well. You would definitely expect them to do that, especially on a big stage like this, for the pride of South Australia. But yeah, Adelaide came out and scored early, bro, and it was interesting though because each quarter there was the same amount of goals scored. Like there was 3 goals scored in the first quarter, 4 goals scored in the second quarter, and I want to say 3 more goals scored in the third quarter, and then it was just 1 goal difference, bro, at the end where Adelaide was able to win. Mark King taking a nice intercept mark to really seal the deal, to really survive off a tough resurgence for Port. They looked like they were on their way, man, and just wasn't quite able to get it done. I do think that this game was very entertaining. It lived up to the hype. And yeah, although it wasn't like the highest scoring game that we've seen this season, you definitely got your entertainment value out of this game. So high quality players. But at the end of the day, the game of footy, you got to make the most of your opportunities. If you can't, you might lose by just a hair, bro, and that's what happened here. So tough report, man, especially when you look like the more convincing team in certain areas of the game. But what can you do, man? You got to kick goals. That's what you can do. But yeah, I think that's all I got for Super Saturday, man. Like, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube shit. Catch y'all.